Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to YouTube's favorite underground climbing channel. Your host Joshua Perry. So this season, things got a little messy. My rope had a bunch of happy little accidents all over it. I got paint and caulking and grease and everything else that's never going to come out of this rope. So this rope is completely trashed. So what are we going to do with it? Well, we'll use a little nautical trick today and we'll make a rug out of it. Pretty sure that this pattern would be in the Ashley Book of Knots, which if you don't know, it's like the Bible version of knots. They got chapter and verse on every single knot you could probably imagine. So we're going to give this a try. I've never done it before. I can imagine it's something kind of like a figure eight where you get the first pattern right and then you just follow it and do a lot of rope trimming. Everything will come together. So this is going to turn into this. I'm hoping that future me will actually have a product after this. Okay, so let's get you over the table and we'll get started on how to do this. Okay, we got a rope on the operating table. Step one is going to be flaking this all out and finding the middle. So let's do that. Okay, so step one is just going to be getting to the middle of your rope, and if you don't have a middle marker on your rope, you just grab both ends and you get them together and then you feed it out till you get to the middle of your line just like this. It's kind of funny, really. You spend your whole life trying to not be stepped on, and then you become a rug where everyone just steps on you. It's kind of like how you're born in a diaper and you kind of end up in a diaper. Well, sorry for getting a little existential on you, but yeah, let's get started. Get to the middle. So we got the middle of our line here. I got one end over there, all of it on one end, and one of it all the way on the other end. That's gonna help keep it nice and separated and organized. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make a big loop just like this. This side's on top of this one, so this is on top of this one. We're now gonna make a right hand turn with right down here. We're just gonna go whoop, like that. So now this one's on top of this one, that one's on top of that one. I must just stick this loop under there, and then we're just gonna widen that out a bit, just like so. So now we have this pattern here. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this side here and we're gonna find the end. Let me grab that. This is gonna get real easy once we get the initial pattern down. This is kind of gonna be like a figure eight. We're just gonna follow. We just gotta kind of make that first figure eight pattern and just follow the line. Just do a giant follow through. Try not to mess up this pattern as we do it. That's the tricky part. So with this part here, you go over this one with this strand. We're going under this one. We're going over this one, and we're going under this one, and then we're gonna pull that all the way through. So let's do that. Okay, so after pulling it all through, this is the pattern we're left with, and we have two bundles on this side and that side. So the next step is we're gonna take these two bundles of rope, we're gonna just move them over to this end, and then we're gonna lengthen these two bottom loops. Okay, so all I did was take those loops that were hanging over there and I chucked them over that way. And then we're going to grab these two bottom loops and we're going to make them wider and try to respect the pattern here. Just make these loops a bit wider down here at the bottom. Okay, now this one we're going to make wider here. Nice, neat, and tidy. Alrighty. Next step, I'm gonna take these two big loops we made. We're just gonna flip them to the right, like so. 1 and 2, just like that. So after you made these two little after you made these two little twists down here, you're just gonna take your right one, just gonna lay it across on top of that one, Then we're going to come over here and you're going to find the end of this one. Take the end over here and you're going to pass it under this one, over on top of these two, and then under this one, and then pull it through until the whole bundle's over there. But this side, you're going to come in a little differently. Instead of going over two, you're going to go over, under, over, under, and over. And then you're going to pull that all the way through to that side. Okay, so this is our completed pattern. So now what we got to do is start doing the weaving process. Before we do that, I'm going to take this and I'm going to just carefully keep the pattern but make it wider so that the weaving process is easier and cleaner. So I'm just going to slowly widen this pattern out over this table. Okay, so the pattern is cleaned up now. So now we can start the weaving process. Grab the loop somewhere in the middle of your bundle for the left side here. When you pass it through and start weaving, if you weaved with just the end, then it's going to take you like, twice as long. If you pass the bite of your left bundle through, you're using twice as much rope as you pass it through, so that helps. You could do that later in the process if you want to be more careful, but I'm just going to go ahead and start doing that. So I got my left side, I got a bite, and this coming in, and I'm going to follow this right bundle here. I'm just following it, just like you would a figure eight, like two cars driving down a highway. We're just going to respect the pattern and just follow along one side of this thing. So we're going under, over, under, over, under, and we're just going to come out. And we're basically just going to do this and just follow this rope all the way around this pattern. This is the monotonous part that just takes forever. And we're just going to follow this pattern till we're completely out of rope. Yeah, I passed around completely once. I guess it's the third, whatever. Go around again. So getting close to the end here of just that one side. I think this is a 180-foot rope. If I'm not too lazy while I'm editing this, I'll add how many meters that is. I thought this was a 60-meter rope, but we'll see. Maybe I shouldn't say lazy. Maybe I should say if I'm too tired. I usually edit these videos like right after I make them, so they're almost like daily vlogs. Well, this is about half of my rope, which is because my other half is just still laying over there, and I got about 7 passes through here, and it's already getting pretty tight. So if I was going to do a full rope, I would have to really widen this thing out, and then I think I'd get, I guess, double the passes on here. And I think I'm fine with this, besides the fact that widening this thing out would be probably just as long a process as doing it in the first place. And I gotta tighten it up anyway. It's kind of loose in some ends here. I was already trying to see what it was like trying to widen this whole thing out. If I was gonna do this all the time, this would I'd definitely make like a jig so that I could start the pattern out with the right size so that by the time I weaved it all through, it'd be super close. So this is my first time doing this, and it came out pretty well. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep weaving it. I'm gonna try to loosen it up just a little bit somehow, and then I'm gonna weave in the rest as much as I can till it's tight, and then that's it. The excess is just the excess. So then I'll chop it off or whatever, and then I could probably create a whole nother one of these, a smaller version if I wanted to. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to try to do that and see what that comes out like. Okay, so I got about 7 passes through everything. I still have this much rope. I'm done doing passes. 7 I think is going to be my lucky number. That's what I ended up getting to. What I'm doing now is I'm getting all the slack out of there and getting it to one loop. And then once I get it to one loop, we're going to try to feed it back out and around. So that's the next step. Well, I gotta say, there is something just ASMR about this. Like and subscribe. Okay, so, well, from 2 o'clock to 5:30, it took me to do this thing. I gotta say, there's probably a shortcut. Like, if you had like it cut right here, so that this whole thing was kind of just like one rope. Because let's say you got some slack here in the middle, you gotta weave it around all the way till you get to this end or this end. That means you gotta do it like 7 times so you work it all the way out, which is a big pain in the butt. But if you want to do this for somebody, maybe for a Christmas gift or something, it's pretty cool. Now I just gotta cut these ends off or whatever, tuck them in. I think I'm gonna have my mother-in-law, she's a seamstress, maybe she could sew these in here and then it would stay together real nice. Some people, they glue in here. I could still spend another couple hours just cleaning it up. It's still kind of like not laying completely flat. So I mean, there's still some time I could put into this thing, get it nice and laying flat, and then people glue these in here so that the whole thing doesn't move around or anything. So that's that. Well, I hope you liked the little rug, how to make a rope rug episode. Like, comment, and subscribe. As always, Josh Perry, climbing out of here.